Dear students, today we will learn the topic that is coherent and incoherent sources and the addition of their combination. That is, when coherent or incoherent sources are producing waves and when they are moving in the medium, then if they superpose each other, then which phenomena will take place. So first of all, we will understand that what does the mean that coherent and incoherent source means. So first we will see that what is coherent sources. So here we say that it is very clear that if two sources of light which continuously emit light waves of same frequency, or we can say that of same wavelength, with zero or constant phase difference between them, they are called coherent sources. So suppose I would like to say that here I have one source, that is S1, and there is another source, that is S2. Now it is considered that they continuously emit light waves of same frequency or same wavelength. So suppose there is a point of screen here, this is a screen, we can say that this is AB, is suppose a screen. If they are producing a wave of same wavelength or a same frequency, then they both are called, that is, coherent sources. So we simply say that sources of light which produces or emit the light waves emit the light waves of same frequency or we can say that or same wavelength so it is important that they must have same frequency or same wavelength with zero or constant phase difference. Then these type of sources, so these type of sources are considered as coherent sources. So they are called coherent sources of light. So this is the first thing. Now another thing that we can say that if these two sources of light which do not emit light waves with constant phase difference are called incoherent sources. So if two sources of light emits the lights with different phase differences, then it is called incoherent sources of light. So here we have to define these two type of sources, that is coherent sources and incoherent sources. What are the main point of understanding? That in coherent sources the waves which are produced are having same frequency or same wavelength with zero or constant phase differences. So in coherent sources we have two different sources that are emitting light with same frequencies, while in incoherent sources the sources are emitting light. So here the emission is with different phase difference. That means they are having different phase. So here we can say that their phase difference is some different value, and therefore they are considered as a incoherent sources. Now we understand that what happens if they are added. So now for the wave, the addition of the wave is considered with the help of superposition principle. So here we can say that when waves are added, then they follow superposition principle. So we can start now. What is this superposition principle? So now first, superposition principle for wave addition. Now actually this superposition principle we have studied in standard 11. We can simply say that when a number of waves travel through a medium simultaneously, each wave travels independently of the others. That means as if all other waves are absent, an important consequence of this independent behavior of the wave is that the effect of all these waves get added together. The resultant wave is obtained with the help of superposition principles, and what that principle states. So it is a simple statement that we have to remember. It is useful for the understanding purpose. It states that when a number of waves traveling through a medium superpose on each other, the resultant displacement of any point at a given instant is equals to the vector sum of the displacement due to the individual waves at that point. So here simply it is stated when a number of waves, so we first consider that many waves may move. So when a number of waves traveling through a medium superpose on each other, the resultant displacement at any instant at any point at a given instant is equals to the vector sum of the displacement due to individual waves at that point. So due to at that point. So this is the basic thing that we can state about a superposition principle. Now let us understand how this phenomena that is taking place. So first we are taking some examples with a graph. Suppose we have two waves and we want to find the resultant of that waves. So now suppose we consider two waves. This is say wave 1. So this is first wave. Here I am showing. Here we have y-axis as a displacement and x-axis as a time period. Now the first wave that is moving in this manner that I have shown half drop or a crest, then I draw second wave. So now for second wave also I take the same type of graph that it moves in this way. Now if we add them together, what we will get, that what should be the answer. So here we say that after the addition of them, what we will get, we will draw the same thing. So here what we will get, that this wave has covered one line, this wave has covered second line. So the resultant wave that will travel over here will also have the displacement like this. So here we can say that if this wave has covered this much region, this wave has covered this much region, then the addition of this wave will cover that two part. So here we simply say that if it has covered one position it has covered one segment, then here it will cover about two segments. So that is called superposition principle. Not only this, if the phenomena is totally different, that means if we consider that if the phenomena is totally different, that if we take like displacement versus time graph, this is first wave, but if it is here in this manner, then suppose I take another wave in this manner, I say this is second wave, another wave, let us say this is y1, this is y2. Now if it is also moving in a same manner from here to here and here to here like this, and then we have to get the resultant wave that we will show over here. This is suppose resultant, then it would be in the manner like this. So again, as in the previous case, it was in a downward direction of the axis. Now here it is in upward direction, and the resultant will also the sum, as in the previous case, it is also here the same thing. Another interesting part is that if one wave is in the manner like this, this is say first wave, then suppose another wave is like another wave is in a direction like this, or a little bit smaller wave that we need. Smaller like this, then if we add them together, what should be there? It is interesting to see that if we add this wave in this manner, we get a straight line graph for the wave to move in the medium like this. So this would be the resultant wave over here, and this is called the phenomena of superposition principle. So now we have understood the phenomena that is called superposition principle. Now we can say that what would be the resultant wave can be written. Suppose we have waves y1 with vector sign y2 with vector sign y3 up to yn, and if we added them together with the resultant displacement, we can say that the resultant wave will have the sum of or the vector sum of all the displacement individually that we can have over here. So this is called superposition principle of wave addition. So here in this chapter we will study about the addition of coherent and incoherent waves with the help of superposition principle, and we will understand two interesting phenomena that are called interference and diffraction of light. Now we will see the phenomena that occurs due to the superposition of principle due to coherent waves. Now that phenomena is called interference of light. So we say here that what is this interference term means. We say when two light waves of same frequency. So here we say that when two light sources of same frequency and having zero or constant phase difference traveling in the same direction superpose each other the intensity in the region of superposition gets redistributed. And becoming maximum at some points and become minimum at others. This phenomenon is called interference of light. So this is called this phenomena of light is called interference of light. So here this is very interesting phenomena that is of superposition principle only. Actually, if we go with that, we found that superpose on each other, but here we have the condition of the waves, that which type of waves are there, that two light sources are required. We say here that two light sources of same frequency and having zero or constant phase difference. That means this is the condition for the coherent sources. And obviously when they superpose, that means two coherent sources are superposed at some place, then whatever the resultant effect is produced, that is considered as an interference of light. Here, to understand this phenomena, we can draw again the figure as we have shown earlier. Suppose this is the screen, this is the part of the screen. Now we say that we have two different sources, say S1 and another, that is S2. Now suppose there is a point P is lying somewhere here. Say this is on the screen, point P is lying on the screen. Now we have two waves of same frequency, so they are moving from S1 to P, and another wave that we can consider, that is emerging from S2, that is also traveling to P. Now here the interesting phenomena is there. Here we can say that S1P and S2P are same, because we have considered them as an equal. So here we say that if S1P is equals to S2P, that means they both are equal, then waves from S1 and S2 will take the same time to travel to the point P, and waves that emanate from S1 and S2 in phase will also arrive at the point P in the phase. Now the interesting thing, that the displacement produced by the source S1 at the point P is given by, suppose by the equation, that is wave produced from source 1. So we say that displacement produced by source 1 is given by y1 is equals to a1 cos omega t. In the same manner for source 2, we can say here this is for source 1, we say this is equation 1. For source 2, so for S2, it is given by y2 is equals to a2 cos omega t. Now here we have considered that if they both are in the same phase, and if we consider that their amplitudes are also same, that means if a1 is equals to a2, that is equals to a, then the resultant wave, that is y, would be So the resultant is suppose y, then we can say that y is equals to y1 plus y2. So in that phenomena, in this case, we can say that means that y is equals to a1 cos omega t plus a2 cos omega t. Now here we have considered that a1 and a2 are same, that is equals to a. So in place of then we can say that y is equals to a cos omega t in place of this plus a cos omega t. That means it will be 2a cos omega t. So here in this case the amplitude will become 2a for the resultant wave. Now here again the interesting fact that if we consider the original intensity, that if the intensity of each wave is I0, then the resultant of intensity is directly proportional to the square of the amplitude. So here the resultant intensity will be, that is, if a square is the resultant amplitude, or we say that if a square is the resultant amplitude term, then this would be like a square plus a square plus 2 a square with cos 0 term. So this would be ultimately 4a square. Now this is the square of the resultant intensity's amplitude, but I is proportional to a square and I0 is proportional to small a square. So if we replace them, we can get, that is, I is equals to 4 times I0. So this is the actual intensity that we obtain, and here this equation that can be written as equation 4. Here another important portion is there, that is intensity is proportional to the amplitude square, that also to be remembered. Now in this case, if this is the condition, we can say that I0 represent the intensity produced by each one of the individual sources, that is y1 and y2 or s1 and s2. I0 is proportional to a square. So in fact at any point on the perpendicular bisector of s1 and s2, so here if we go on any line, here I would like to show with dotted line, this is, say, this line, this dotted line is a bisector of this source. So we can say that at any point on the perpendicular bisector of S1 and S2, that means any point on this dotted line, the intensity will be 4 times I0. The two sources are said to be interfere constructively, and we have what is referred to as constructive interference. So here at point P, whatever observed is called constructive interference. So that would be the condition for that constructive interference. Now we will learn in detail that what is the equation for the constructive interference and destructive interference in the next session.